The last time I was living in Argentina, I was doing this for a living. It wasn't making me rich, but at least I had a creative and cultural outlet. Okay, so I didn't get any superannuation, retirement or nest egg funds, but I had plenty of free time to chill out with family and friends. Then, upon my return to Australia, I found myself doing this for a living. This time, despite earning the big bucks, I felt unfulfilled and uninspired. Well, I spent my days locked away in this bland, windowless office. The best hours of the day and the sunshine passed me by. I began to wonder what the point of living by the beach was if I never had an opportunity to enjoy it. In fact, I began wondering what the most important things were in life and where I might find true happiness. So I withdrew my hard-earned savings from the bank and invested in a modest video camera and a one-way ticket back to South America with the intention to produce a small doco and see if I could find out.
Alrighty, so I was born here in Argentina, northern part, Vicente Lopez. I lived there for 2 years, and then my father, who was an engineer, moved to California. He had a job opportunity and took the whole family there with him. Brothers and sisters and my mom, and we went there. But I still have, my father's from Tucumán, my mother's from Olavarria, and so I grew up there. I was 2 years old when I went there, so my first language really is English. But we had to speak Spanish in the house, so my Argentine ain't too bad. Went to school there, university there, studied physics and music, and I didn't come back and visit for a long time. I visited when I was 16, and then after that I couldn't visit because of the mandatory service. I actually got picked for military service, and at that time I was 18 years old, 5 minutes from the California beaches, and like hell, I'm gonna go to another country 3,000 miles away and put on a uniform, cut my hair. Nah. So I asked at the, at the embassy, I says, well, what do I do? Are they gonna come get me? And they said, nah, they're not gonna come get you, but we recommend you not go into Argentina till you turn 30 or so, or until they don't have military service anymore. And the military service, I think, ended in 1990 thereabouts or so. But even so, it was until 96 that I finally came back to visit with a friend of mine, and we did the whole tour of Argentina. Went to all the places where my parents were born and stuff. Went to Ushuaia, Mar del Plata, Tucumán, Mendoza, and there I met an Argentine girl, and that pretty much ends the story. And so I hit it off with her, and then I went back to the States, and we had $900 phone bills for a while, and we decided that something was happening. I've always had I was always drawn here. So I even told her, I said, my plan is I'd like to live in Argentina, at least for a little while. So then she moved to the States. We got married there. And then 3 years later, in 2001, 2 years later, in 2001 we moved back here. So I've been here since October 2001. One of the things I did there when I was working there, I worked at a software company. This software company, I worked in production, things like that, manufacturing, a lot of those kinds of jobs. And I always played music, but it was kind of, the difference was abysmal between what you could make with music and what you could make working a 9-to-5 job. So, and then I moved here, and I started doing music just as a whim. The kid next door, little 8-year-old kid, heard me playing guitar in the backyard and says, "Will you teach?" And I says, I wasn't doing anything. I was only here for like 2 months. It was summertime. I said, sure, I'll give you lessons. So I gave the kid lessons. He was 8 years old and he was a genius. And in spite of everything I taught him. And so he would go to parties and stuff and they would ask him to play, and all the adults would be amazed this 8-year-old kid could play. And he would actually did all my publicity. He goes, oh, Walter's my teacher. And so all these parents were calling me to teach their kids guitar. I said, sure. So I started doing that. I never meant to. So I started teaching then older kids and stuff, and then now I have a school where I teach guitar as well as bass and trumpet and piano and stuff. And then I started playing music, and being as far as rock and roll here, there's still a big draw, should I say, what's the word? There's a big market, that's the word I'm looking for. There's a big market for American or English-speaking rock. The Beatles are still big here, right? Queen is still big here. I mean, they're big in the States too, but here, Pink Floyd is huge here. So being as I handle my English more or less, I sing in English, so I started playing in the cover band, and it went really well. And now I've been playing I help in other bands, I'm producing. I have 3 bands right now that they want to sing in English, and so they want to help with the pronunciation. They speak English, but their pronunciation and also arranging the songs to where the words fit and they also make sense. So I do a lot of that production, consulting with musicians and things like that. And here I am, drinking a beer.
So you're full-time muso?
I do music full-time. It's a kind of job where there's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Playing, I play usually 2 nights a week, average. Of course, I'd like to play more. Teaching, I teach a lot. During the year, I have 30, 35 students. In the summer, everything dies here. You've been here in summer, everyone disappears. So summer, I lost a lot of weight. I used to weigh a lot more than I do now. Summer was good to me in a bad way, or bad to me in a good way. In the summer, I had 9 students, and I needed 13 to pay the rent. So it was a lot of potatoes for me in the summertime.